From Studio 113 in River Falls comes Focus on You. Tonight on the show, we will have Ryan Stridde from NFL Films. Also, we will have a special interview with TV critic from National Public Radio, Eric Deggans. And for our musical guest, Tom Estrem will also be on the show. Now for our seminal host, Rob Breacher.
Welcome to Focus on You, everybody. So why did the opening look like a black and white silent movie?
I think the writers want to make the show all artsy and creative. Didn't you go to the writers' meeting?
Hell no. I don't find writing all that important in the process. And speaking of artsy, I see we have a special guest in the audience today.
Oh, keep it on the down, though, Rob. He is not famous anymore.
Oh, my bad. Michael, I wanted to ask you about something.
Oh, what did you want to ask me about?
Yeah, well, just, I didn't get my coffee today, Michael.
Oh, Rob, you got to have your coffee. You can barely function without it.
Yeah, where did you get that mic? Or the mug?
The mug? It's crazy. Oh, this old thing? I've had it for years.
Really? Because it says #1 Rob on it. It's kind of my thing.
Big fan.
You know, Michael, I'll let this go, but you will pay for this.
How foreboding. Reminds me of that Craigslist killer from the news.
As if I watched the news, Michael.
Okay, well, get this. A woman claimed that she killed 22 people by luring them into her apartment with Craigslist posts.
Seriously? Maybe I should rethink running my social life exclusively through Craigslist.
That doesn't even make any sense.
Neither does the song Baby by Justin Bieber, but that didn't stop me from pimp slapping him into the 6th dimension.
Are you on something?
Yes.
Cool.
You want some?
That's all right.
But seriously, Michael, I bet you didn't know that Ukraine, Venezuela, and Thailand each had violent protests within the borders of their respective countries.
So?
I don't know. I just wanted to make it seem like I had something to talk about, something more important, you know? But no, please, continue. I really want to hear more about your useless trivia and your pulp culture references.
Well, I mean, I do other things. In fact, I've started writing a new novel.
Yeah, I don't read books.
Just can't please you, can I? What do you feel more excited about, our first or our second guest?
What guests?
Well, Eric Deggans, for one. You know, works for NPR, wears a nice suit.
Actually, I feel pretty excited for Ryan Stridde from NFL Films.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Wait a minute. I didn't know you listened to NPR.
Of course I do. I listen to it in my Prius every day on my way to the coffee shop where I work on my novel.
Such a walking stereotype. You know, I'd much rather just sit on the couch with some friends, crack open a brewski, and watch football than listen to stuffy old NPR.
Yeah, and you call me the stereotype. I just can't stand the way the football announcers overdo everything and shout all the time. Yes, yes, we know. He scored a touchdown. Calm down.
As if NPR has anything better, like talking about all quietly and softly, talking about everything.
Oh, yeah? How would you present a story on the ongoing drought in Brazil?
Wow, they haven't cleared that up yet? But, how about like this? Brazil has had a rough season this year. Now Brazil, they put up good numbers in the past, but this year they've scored just 11 inches of rain. Now, if you don't get any rain, well, you might have a drought. And this will hurt them in the off-season, and especially when it comes to the coffee bean draft.
God, so obnoxious.
You know, I'd like to see you do a football game NPR style. It would put people to sleep.
Well, if you insist. Even though the offensive linemen have now removed themselves from the field, the quarterback remains stationary. For the past week, specially trained crews have worked in the claustrophobic space around the line of scrimmage, and they have found more potential snags, including a wide receiver with a girth of almost exactly 3.5 feet. Darren Borkowitz, the wide receiver for the Miami Blowfins, had slightly too big of a shoe size for the conveyor belt system, stubble away from his face, but too light for the team to fracture into smaller pieces. The Blowfins coach commented that he did not consider it something that they could stop, but instead a symptom of something much larger.
You know, I would say you prove my point, but I have a phobia against redundancy, so. All right, folks, getting about to that time again, so check out these videos and stay tuned for more.
Hi, Hi, welcome to Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Northwestern Wisconsin. My name's Mike, and just something a little bit about Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Our mission statement is start something. Start something with a child. Start involving yourself with helping to mentor a child. We ask that the commitment be just an hour a week, something, just an hour a week out of your schedule to spend with a child and change their life.
Hi, I'm Danielle from Crops and Soils Club, and you should join because we do a lot of fun activities. We grow pumpkins for the YMCA. We go on a lot of trips. We're actually going to Nebraska and California this year. We have soil and crop judging teams, and I'll hand it over to Nikki, see if she has anything else.
So we meet every other Wednesday in Ag Sci, room 217 at 5 o'clock, and we usually like to have speakers from industry come in. So we have crop consultants come in, other professors who come in and talk about what they do, and sometimes we just do fun things like play bingo or just kind of get to know each other, and we always have food at our meetings, so you should come and check us out.
Yo, my name is Al. I'm the pretty voice and I'm the pretty face and the sultry voice of Prologue Literary Magazine. I want to let you know, we got this magazine here. It's Prologue. It's funky fresh. This mag's so hot, man. You gotta fan yourself up. You gotta keep cool, man. This mag's too hot. We're accepting submissions. We're doing it right now. If you write fiction, if you write poetry, if you do art, any visual media, we want to see it. You gotta submit it to us. At email prologue@uwrf@gmail.com. This ladder back here, that's a metaphor because we're climbing the new heights. We're starting small, we're moving to the top, and we want to see the cream of the crop rise into that top of that ladder. So you know what, just send us to us, let it hear it. We want to be with you, we want to connect with you, real connected, real good. Let's see it. Peace.
Hi, I'm here for Math and Physics Club. You can get a hold of us on Facebook. It's Math Club at River Falls and UWRF Physics. Why you should join these is if you're interested in math or physics. It's a good networking tool. We do a lot of fun things too. We just explain how math is in your everyday life. So yeah, contact us.
We're Students Fighting Trafficking, or SFT. My name is Diana Hendrickson. I'm the co-president of this organization. We're dedicated to spread the awareness of human trafficking around campus and the community of River Falls. And we have screenings of different movies and documentaries. A part of raising awareness is that human trafficking doesn't happen outside of the U.S. or in distant parts from River Falls. There have been some cases of human trafficking in River Falls confirmed here, and we try to pair up with an organization here in River Falls that deals with the helping of the women that get saved and having safe houses and a safe place for them. We also meet every other Monday at 7 p.m. in the IC part of the UC by the fireplace. You're welcome to come anytime.
It's your favorite part of the show, where I get to ask the question, where on campus is Trevor Bloom?
Where on campus is Trevor Bloom? Where on campus is Trevor Bloom? Can you guess where I am? Stay tuned to find out if you guessed right.
Haringdo is the most comprehensive martial and healing art in the world, and is over 200 years old. We learn kicking, punching, ground fighting, weapons, and meditation. We meet just a few blocks off campus in the Meyer Middle School Wrestling Room on Monday and Wednesday nights, 6 to 7 p.m. Join Students Today, Leaders Forever. It's a great opportunity to meet lifelong friends, make an impact in communities across America, and of course, travel. If you are interested or have any questions, please find us on Facebook at UW River Falls STLF. We hope to see you soon.
Looking to fill a prescription? Freeman Drug, your locally owned independent Health Mart pharmacy, offers friendly service and competitive prices on prescriptions, custom compounding, home healthcare products, durable medical equipment, and more. They are conveniently located on 104 South Main Street in downtown River Falls, right across from the movie theater. We accept most insurance cards and transferring your prescription is easy. So stop on by or call 715-425-2255 today. Health Mart, caring for you and about you.
All right, welcome back to the show. Oh, this isn't mine. Actually, it's our guest, Ryan Stridde. Ryan, how did you get this?
Well, I can tell you that it all started here, actually, and it was back in the years when the Chiefs were still here. So NFL Films decided to come do a show called Hard Knocks with the Chiefs, and that's where they follow a team through their summer training camp. And I was lucky enough to be one of the, I say 5 or 6 film students I got asked to help out on that. So I got called the day before, was told I was going to be the audio PA, and I told them I know nothing about audio. They said that's fine, and it went from there. So now 7 years later, I've actually racked up 3 of those for different shows that we've worked on. That one was for the Hard Knocks show a couple of years ago, and it's kind of blossomed into something fantastic. A nice weekend gig.
So what would you say is your position title then? What would you call it?
I have 2 specific terms that we use. We have the location sound technician and then the enhanced audio technician. So
Okay.
depending on what my weekend job is, either I go to a random game, I mic up a player, we send all that audio back to NFL Films. That's the location sound technician job. Otherwise, the enhanced audio technician job is something I do a lot more often. I do that for Packer and Viking home games, and that's where I'll go. I'll mic up these centers on each team, and we send all that audio to the broadcast. So actually, when you're watching the game at home on Sundays, you can hear a little bit of our audio. You hear the quarterback cadence, you hear the pads hitting, that kind of stuff. That's actually coming from NFL Films mics.
So run me through a typical workday for you.
Typical work day, say it's a noon game. I'm up at about 5:30, leave the hotel I'm staying at by about 6. We get to the stadium 6:30-ish. And by 6:45, we are meeting with the equipment managers for the home team. We mic up 2 sets of pads for that team. And when I say we, actually have an assistant, which in Green Bay is my brother, which is nice enough. And then at about 7:45, we go to the visiting team, mic up those players, and then we do a whole lot of testing. And we make sure everything's set. The day before, we do a lot of setup with the broadcast people. And then come about 11 o'clock when the players take the field, it's, kind of fingers crossed, hoping everything sounds good. And from there, the game starts. We're up and down with faders the rest of the day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm assuming you've met a fair amount of players then?
Fair amount, yes. I've met a fair amount of players, and usually we can't be too affiliated with them. When you do Hard Knocks, when you're with them day in and day out, you get used to them. But I'd have to say the Bengals were probably the nicest team we played with, that we got to be with at all. But I got to meet a lot of other people, including Steve Sable, the late Steve Sable, which was fantastic, and a couple of my trips out to NFL Films. So that was always quite the experience to meet him.
So what would you say, because you went to school here.
I did.
What were the years?
I started in 2004, and I graduated in the spring of '09.
Okay. So what would you say that you learned here that you were able to use out in the field? Because I think that's one of the most important things is, like, how can we apply what we've learned in school to...
Absolutely. I really enjoyed all those history of film classes and watching a lot of movies, but the things that helped the most, including working on Focus on You when I was here, were the studio production classes and the field production classes. The studio production classes were really beneficial because you were able to just get a basic knowledge of camera use and audio and everything else. And then the field production work was good because you're working with a small group, you have your directors, you have everything else, and you really have to work together with each other in that setting, and that's more of what I'm doing nowadays.
Okay.
So I found that very helpful for what I've actually turned out to be doing on a, the weekend job, basically.
Yeah.
So that's been great.
And you said that you have how many more of these?
I have 2 more at home.
You have 2
Yeah.
more. How did you get the other 2?
We had another show of Hard Knocks, so we won that one for our work with the Jets. We won another one for our work with the Dolphins, and then we did what we call an all-audio game for a Thanksgiving game a couple years ago, and it was the Ravens playing the 49ers. So out in Baltimore, we mic'd up, I think, 12 players, about another 2 coaches, and spent Thanksgiving, watching football, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's nice to be home with the family, but yeah, so that turned into another Emmy, luckily for us.
Ryan, you're very modest in what you do and what you accomplished. Is there a Hard Knocks that you say you enjoyed the most?
I would have to say the Jets was fun, the Dolphins was enjoyable, but the Bengals, this last year, the Bengals was really just fantastic. The city was nice. It was kind of more location than anything because everything was set up right in the stadium. We didn't have to travel anywhere, which for the other Hard Knocks we had done, we had to travel 2-3 times. This time we set it all up. We were there for 6 weeks. It was great, and the team was just wide open with everything we could do. The coaches were great. Players were very friendly, except for James Harrison. He was slightly psychotic, but that's fine.
Is he as psychotic as
my gosh, yes.
they say?
Yeah, he kind of took our camera guys out on some wild trips, including acupuncture and like 3-hour lifting sessions. A lot of pointless things, just kind of mess with them. But other than that, the Bengals were just a fantastic team to work with.
Yeah,
that was a lot of fun.
So you work on Hard Knocks, which is off season.
Yes.
And then you also work during the season for the regular.
Yeah. So this past year is probably the most I've ever worked with NFL Films. I don't know what the total number of days was. I think it was probably close to 80 days, but I spent 6 weeks between July and August doing Hard Knocks.
Okay, cool. So you get to travel a lot. You get to do that.
Yes, I get to see a lot of nice stadiums.
You said the Bengals were your best?
For Hard Knocks, yes.
For Hard Knocks.
Yeah,
what
they were
would
a
you
good team to work with.
would be the best that wasn't affiliated with Hard Knocks? That you tend to have more.
I had a lot of fun this year. Obviously, I'm a big Packer fan, which is always really enjoyable. But this year, just being around the Seahawks and their playoff run was fantastic. And I got to shake Russell Wilson's hand after he won the Super Bowl, and I was in the locker room when they were all in there celebrating, and that was something else. And when they won the NFC Championship, Macklemore actually was in there singing. So we were in there just kind of watching him because he's a Seattle guy.
Yeah.
I'd have to say that being around the Seahawks during the playoff stage was kind of something that I'll always remember. I would have to say that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Ryan, thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. It's always good to come back here.
Oh, we're always happy to have you come back. Anyways, thank you for coming onto the show. Any claps, anyone?
It's Ryan Stridde.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Anyways, thank you, and we'll be right back with more packages.
Hey there, River Falls. It's Kevin from Focus on You. I've started a little segment called Kevin on Campus. And for my first segment, I've gone around campus asking random UWRF students to read random UWRF confessions. Let's go see what some people have to say.
I don't know what to do. I'm on antidepressants, but I still can't seem to feel happy. I try to keep myself busy with school and work, but if I'm not busy at all, I can seem to do is drink, smoke, or have sex with random guys who don't care about me. I know those things will only feel good for a short period, but I don't know what else to do.
I haven't rolled this hard since 5th grade. The new DTL program can go f itself. It never works for downloading paper, and I can't even log in half the time. It's useless. Good thing most professors put all their on it.
To the girls who wear pink camo, I have one thing to say to you. Where do you plan on going around to hunt flamingos?
Shout out to the asshole who hit my car and left. I know who you are, because guess what? I know stuff like this happens, so every day I take a picture of the cars next to me. Oh, and guess what else? I reported your plate to the police, so have fun explaining to your parents about the ticket you'll be receiving in the mail at home.
If you're a lesbian and get pregnant, how do you tell your partner it's not theirs?
Ever since someone posted a confession about my ass, I now constantly wonder whether or not people are actually looking at my ass.
Can't decide if I want to be single and running in the wolf pack with my bros, or if I should ask a girl I have a thing with out for Valentine's Day. Both have their benefits.
The showers on 4th floor Grim seriously suck. I would like to take a hot shower, not a lukewarm shower.
As a girl with small I actually do wear leggings to show off my ass. Yes, I do like when guys look at it. No, I do not take it as sexual harassment or rape culture. I take it as a compliment. So thank you guys. You make me feel good by looking at my ass.
I wish I could still use the excuse, sorry mom, I can't go.
I never thought there'd be a better app than Chive to look through on the and then Tinder came around.
To the lady who freaked out on the kid in animal science for finally telling Evan to shut the hell up. You need to pull your granny panties out of your butt and calm down.
I just want to play with Devin's hair. Sexy beast.
I pee in the shower.
I'm as kinky as a cheap garden hose.
While some people on different sports teams are nice, others just need a high five. In the face. With a chair.
Any hot hipster guys up for a hookup tonight? I'm kinda lonely.
Chan's panty, damn.
I have nothing to confess, because I tell my mommy everything.
Why does Marcus have to have a girlfriend?
Does anyone else have thermostat wars with their roommates?
Signs you're an alcoholic. You are scheduled to work until 9 p.m., but you get out 15 minutes early so you can sprint to the liquor store to get booze before 9. College, whoop whoop.
My arguments? Oh yeah? Well, my mom can beat your mom up.
I had sex with my boyfriend's mom, and now I think I'm a lesbian. What should I do? I don't want to break his heart because he's a great guy, but I think I'm in love with his mom. She has a girl body, and she knows how to use it. Also, I am addicted to cocaine and sometimes smuggle it across the Canadian border. That's how I am paying for college. I was a stripper originally, but I kept contracting STDs from doing tricks. Do you think my boyfriend's mom will still love me with a past like that? What should I do?
Rachel, you have a kick-ass personality. You're hilarious, and you have a beautiful eyes. Keep working on that weight loss, and you won't be single for much longer.
I'm a girl with a rough past, has had lots of sex, done many drugs, been to jail, webcasted playing with myself online, and maybe other regretful things. I feel like I have got all of the partying out of my system now, and I just want to settle down. Do you think a guy can accept a girl with a past like this if they really have changed?
Little New York is the ultimate purse and jewelry store. Merchandise comes directly from New York and is all one of a kind. We pride ourselves in our low prices and trendy styles. Visit us today at 127 North Main Street, River Falls, or check out our Facebook page.
Family Fresh Market is proud to serve the River Falls area with the full-service fresh meat counter. A wide variety of fresh produce including organic offerings, a fresh bakery and deli with a great variety of choices for easy meals, and a pharmacy with a convenient drive-thru. Family Fresh Market also provides a 5% UWRF student discount with a valid UWRF student ID. Exclusions do apply. Family Fresh Market. Feed your senses.
Oh, welcome back to Focus on You. Sorry. Anyways, now I had the privilege of sitting down with Eric Deggans earlier this past week to discuss race, media, and his new book. So take a look. All right. Well, welcome, Eric.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. How are you? How are you after the speech?
Somehow I survived. No, actually the group was great. We had a lot of great communication. People were sharing their stories, and they had a lot of great questions about how race and media work. Sometimes when I give these presentations, it can be like you're talking to a brick wall. People don't really want to talk. They're hesitant. They're afraid they're going to be seen as racist or prejudiced or uninformed. And we didn't have a lot of that, and I thought that was great. So I thought we had a really great evening.
For those who weren't fortunate to come see your speech, what happened? What went down?
Well, basically, my speech is a distillation of ideas from my book called Race Baiter, How the Media Wields Dangerous Words to Divide a Nation. And the book is basically about how there are certain media outlets out there that use prejudice and racism and stereotypes to draw people to their media platforms and keep them from going to other media platforms.
And I know you went over it within the speech, but
Sure.
For those who are wondering, what does race baiter mean?
Well, the reason the book is called that is because I was called a race baiter by Bill O'Reilly on his TV show back in 2008. But I'm not sure exactly why he singled me out, but I have been a consistent critic of how he talks about race on his show. And when that happened, I wrote about it for the Huffington Post, and I wrote about it for my own newspaper. And I had a friend come to me and said, you know, you should really write a book about how when you want to talk honestly about race, people call you a race baiter because they're trying to shut you up. And I thought, you know, that's a really good idea. So I took that idea and I used it as an umbrella to include all of these. I've been writing about pop culture and race and media for at least a dozen years. And so I took all of these ideas that I had discovered over the course of that coverage, and I put them all together under that big umbrella of redefining the term race baiter.
What is your background? And I know a lot of people don't actually get to know much about your background.
Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering if you could elaborate more on where did you go to school, where were you from?
Sure. So, I was born in Washington, D.C., but I was raised in Gary, Indiana, which is a town in northwest Indiana that's about 40 or 50 miles from Chicago. It's right underneath Lake Michigan. It was a city 90 to 95% black. My neighborhood was all black. The schools around me were all black. My mother thought education was important, so she sent me to private schools in middle school and high school. And so when I went to college, I went to Indiana University. It was, at that time, the #4 journalism school in the country. And while I was in college, I was a journalism and political science major. They encouraged you to double major back then. But I was also in a band. I'm a drummer. I've been a drummer for 35 years. And I played in a band with David Milne, who is a music professor here at the school. And we were in a band that got signed to Motown when I was in college. And we went to Chicago and we recorded a record together. And then Motown got sold to another record company, and they never put out our record. But at least we had that experience of recording for Motown and saying we were a Motown recording artist, and it was really an amazing time.
Were there any classes that really like stuck out to you that you continue to use today, as in like within your field?
Yeah, and when you're a senior journalism major, you take journalism ethics. They leave that as one of the last classes because they give you the skills, and then they want to teach you sort of how to use the skills and contextualize them. And I took a journalism ethics class with a teacher who was new to teaching. And so she hadn't been quite beaten down by the system yet. And she brought in this book called Manufacturing Consent by Noam Chomsky. And he wrote this great book about all the forces that limit and control the press in modern society. And some of it is dated because it talks a little bit about like El Salvador and you know, Latin America, because when he wrote the book, those were real hot spots at the time, and it feels a little dated now. But there's other parts of the book that are absolutely essential to understanding how modern newspapers and modern mainstream media outlets work. There's in my book, I talk about manufacturing consent, and I have some of the lessons that I learned from manufacturing consent in the last chapter of my own book.
I know some students are wondering, and I'm also wondering, how can a journalism student who's trying to get at least on your level, or you know, anything near, how did you get to where you are now, especially from going from school?
Well, I did two things. Number one, I always had a plan. Even though my career didn't necessarily always follow my plan, I always had a plan, right? And I think that's very important. I decided that I was going to be a journalist when I was in high school. So I started developing a game plan for how to get training and how to develop my craft when I was a sophomore or junior in high school. And I'm not saying that if people didn't do that, you know, they're screwed up. I'm just saying that you do have to have a game plan for how you want to get the skills you want to have and how you want to get the kind of jobs you have. But the other thing you have to do is you have to be open to opportunity. And sometimes opportunity will come along and it won't look like what you planned or what you thought it would be. The opportunity came to work for NPR, and I realized here is where I could be a nationally known critic. My voice and my opinions could have a wide impact on people, but it's in radio, and I never thought I'd be working in radio, but it's worked out very well so far. And a lot of what I do is on the radio, but I also write for blogs that NPR has for npr.org.
Thank you, Eric, for coming here. I really enjoyed your speech.
Great.
And I'm really glad that we were able to talk about it.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
And thank you for being on campus too, because
I'm glad to be here, man. I'm just glad that you guys are willing to hear the message and willing to let me be the messenger. So.
All right. Well, we'll be back with more packages.
Make a trip to historic downtown Hudson. The Ink Factory, one of the best tattoo parlors in Wisconsin, located on Main Street and open 7 days a week, offers great piercing and tattoo work from award-winning artists. Owner Jay Langer has assembled an amazing team to give customers the best tattoo work around. Stop in today and get inked. The Ink Factory, where great art is manufactured.
Welcome to Focus on You News. I'm Colin Kutke.
And I'm Kevin Holmes. New Mexico horse racing regulators are disciplining a trainer by the name of John Stombaugh because 4 of his horses tested positive last July at Ruidoso Downs for a prohibited drug that's an ingredient of Viagra. The prohibited drug was sildenafil, a according to Albuquerque Journal. John Steinbaugh received 4 suspensions adding up to 16 years and a $40,000 fine and must forfeit $8,000 in purses, according to the Racing Commission executive Vince Mears. Mears also stated that the drug increases a horse's cardiac output and results in increased endurance that allows a horse to run faster. He said New Mexico regulators hadn't detected use of the drug in recent years. That drug has no business being in a horse. It has no medicinal or therapeutic value in a horse, Mears said. As well as stated by Mears, Steinbaugh's penalty was relatively tough because he had a previous infraction involving a different drug and as well as the state recently stiffening its penalties. However, New Mexico penalties weren't the only things that have been recently stiffened. Just ask the horses.
The Winter Olympics came to a close earlier this week in Sochi, or to put in other words, only 1,425 days until we give a damn about curling again. Hulk Hogan has returned to the WWE, which implies that he left.
Lately, former NFL Pro Bowler Darren Sharper has been in the news often after being charged with 2 counts of rape in Los Angeles after former Green Bay Packer, Minnesota Viking, and New Orleans superstar allegedly drugged multiple women and raped them in his hotel room, according to TMZ Sports. Among the charges, Sharper faces 2 counts of rape by use of drugs, 4 counts of furnishing a controlled substance, and 1 count of possession of a controlled substance. Sharper, who had a Hall of Fame caliber NFL career as a safety, is accused of drugging women with zolpidem, which is better known as Ambien. Darren Sharper, honestly, did you really learn nothing from Ben Roethlisberger's rape accusations 6 years ago? Have you not seen any of the Hangover movies? Even by the second movie, Alan knew that drugging people wasn't right anymore. Well, spending the next 30 years of your life in prison due to rape shouldn't be the true thing that you should be worried about, and instead start worrying whether or not you'll ever be a saint again. And no, I'm not talking about the ones in New Orleans.
Last week, Jimmy Fallon started his reign as the host of The Tonight Show. He brought along everyone on his old crew from his old job as the host of Late Night. He could also take me. I mean, I like to be funny. I like to meet celebrities. New York looks fun. Everyone here has a weird obsession with cheese. There's so many cows. Take me with you, Jimmy! Thanks, man.
A former Brazzaro Sport ISD teacher in Freeport, Texas by the name of Nikki Schwartz has been spared prison after having sex with a 16-year-old student. Schwartz pleaded guilty to having an inappropriate relationship with the student and was sentenced to 10 years probation. She was also fined $5,000. Schwartz resigned from her job at Brazo Sport High School last year when she was questionable about the relationship. Police say it had been going on for weeks, but didn't come to light until Schwartz showed up at an after-prom party. Looks like for this bad teacher, a guidance counselor career wouldn't be too bad to pursue.
The Washington Post has reported that Steve Jobs might appear in a commemorative U.S. postage stamp in 2015. This is the closest the Postal Service has come to innovative since they stopped using horses. Sports Illustrated took supermodel Kate Upton into zero gravity for a photo shoot for their latest swimsuit edition. There's no joke, but this is a public service. Have fun on Google Images, boys!
Former 2.5 Men star Charlie Sheen supposedly is engaged to a porn star. And no, I'm not talking about Kate Upton. Who would have ever thought that it would have taken Charlie over 48 years to find a soulmate? Though I'll give the actual marriage 6 total rehab stints that Charlie has to attend before these two lovebirds split up.
Anchorman 2 is being re-released to theaters with 700 new jokes and an R rating. I'm just glad that they're actually including jokes this time. CeeLo Green announced that he is not returning to The Voice. This is BS. Who the hell is going to use up their feather budget now?
After over 30 years of being the home of Minnesota national sporting events, entertainment purposes, and holding possibly the strongest nostril-tingling aromas of smelling like a dump, Minneapolis bids farewell to the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome. This past Sunday, the Metrodome was officially torn down and exploded after the beginning of it was taken apart piece by piece. The new Minnesota Vikings Stadium is set to open in July of 2016, where it will host a potential Super Bowl, Final Four, and other sporting and entertainment festivities. But it's about time someone finally took over executive orders to flush the crap out of that toilet bowl.
Taylor Swift cut her hair short last week. This was on CNN's website. Cable News represents. When asked for comment, a representative from CNN said, "Oh my God, we think she cut it because she broke up with a boy, because it's a sign of a major life change when a girl cuts her hair." For Focus on You News, I'm Colin Cutty.
And I'm Kevin Holmes. Good night, America.
So the two programs behind me are Experience Scotland and Experience China. And now how these programs work is we send UW faculty and UW students over there to the on-site locations. In Scotland it happens to be a palace, in China it happens to be a hotel. But you take classes from here with other UW students over there. And so you never have to worry about credit transfers. And because we run the programs, the cost tends to be relatively low on these guys. Our next two programs to talk about would be Semester Abroad Europe and the International Traveling Classroom. Now these two programs run opposite one another. Semester Abroad Europe only happens during the fall, and the International Traveling Classroom only happens in the spring. Semester Abroad Europe is an independent research project in Europe. So you work with a faculty mentor to develop a research project that will be in your major. It's 12 to 15 credits. It will look phenomenal on any resume, and it is also our oldest running program. It's been going on for 50 years. So the International Traveling Classroom, or ITC, is a little bit different than some of our other programs. It's kind of the traditional concept of backpacking through Europe, only with classes attached. It's not quite as independent as, say, Semester Abroad Europe is, but there's still plenty of opportunity for independent travel in between the coursework. And on this side, we have our short-term programs, otherwise known as our faculty-led programs. Now, all of these programs tend to work in a very similar way. There's 3 credits, and then they also knock out a couple of gen ed requirements. So all of these classes will be based in some field, like this is ag sci, and this is history, and this is biology, and that's anthropology, and that's poli-sci. But in the same vein, these programs will also knock out some general education requirements, for example, global perspectives or multidisciplinary. The options we have shown here is what went this year during either our day term or spring break, or we'll go over the summer. Here is what we have for our exchanges. This might be a little bit more what you think of when you think traditionally for education abroad. These are foreign universities, and you go there and you pay here tuition to go there in most cases. We have a couple of options, some in Taiwan, in Korea, in Germany, and some places in Europe, and some places in the Americas. I strongly recommend we have Finland, reindeer racing. You really should go. Anyway, if any of this sounds interesting, you definitely should stop by and talk to us about it.
Finland has it all. Finland has it all.
That's right, you guessed it. I'm on the second floor of Centennial, next to the vending machines.
TRIO Student Support Services is a program on campuses throughout the United States and was designed to assist students in achieving their baccalaureate degree. If you are accepted as a scholar into Student Support Services, we provide cultural events to expand awareness, leadership opportunities to develop personal growth, community service projects to instill global responsibility and accountability, activities for engaging with other scholars in the program, financial training and education, and academic skills building. The basic qualifications are being the first person in your family to pursue a college degree, meaning neither parent has a college degree, family income guidelines as determined by the federal government, and students with disabilities.
Rob Breacher here, and I can tell you what I feel coming in the air tonight. And now for our special guest, our special musical guest, the very special Tom Estrem.
matter which way you go to get out. All the people lock you in and never let you out, and you try to find a way to escape all the crowds. Move on until you scream out loud, looking for a reason to escape all the demons. Many reasons couldn't even get me to just believing that there may never be a quick way to get through. Move on and for the world to be new and get away. Get up and get away, let the sun shine through to brighten up your day. Take a minute, look around, there has to be a way. Push away all the memories you want to fade away, and it's the day you'll break away. You'll open up my eyes, see a brand new way. Take a walk down the dirty road, let's travel away, and look back on the memories, make new ones who dare. Road less traveled is the hardest one to find. When you move town to town, crossing many state lines, traveling friends that we can find to open up our minds. We saw a sign that defined the time. Now we saw a sign that reads, welcome home. Don't worry anymore, you won't have to be alone. And we'll hold all our energy down at Clark's Grove. You're never too old, it's never too good to hold and get away. Get up and get away, let the sun shine through to brighten up your day. Take a minute, look around, there has to be a way. Push away all the memories you want to fade away, and it's the day you'll break away. You'll open up my eyes, see a brand new way. Take a walk down the dirty road, let's travel away, and look back on the memories, make new ones. You dare, do dare, do dare, do dare, do dare.
That's good.
What's all over your guitar? What do you have written on there?
These are what started out to be just bands that I love to listen to.
Mhm.
Useful Jenkins, John Wayne and the Pain, a lot of bands that are local to the Twin Cities area, Mankato, Duluth, pretty much the Midwest area, and ended up budging my way into meeting these guys, and now happen to be autographs to me. Well, still are very important to me. And
So you have to like bring your guitar to like certain.
I used to. Now it just kind of. This one usually is like always around me constantly, but bring it to a lot of festivals, a lot of shows. It's just usually always there, so it's always the one that I'm always constantly playing.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it's part of who I am.
Well, all right. Thank you, Tom, for coming,
Thank you.
and thank you everyone that was able to come here. Tom Stridde, Eric Deggans, the audience. Anyways, thank you, and come back for the next show.